The following program contains distressing scenes.
From chilly ocean depths to icy mountain peaks, nature wages war. Arctic clashes, combat for supremacy, and frozen skirmishes. Each inhospitable corner of the planet hosts a struggle to survive. This is nature's cold fury. In the wild, life has its limits. Only a select few can share the spoils. The right to mate, fuel to survive, a place to call home. In extreme conditions, against fierce opponents, wild animals battle for existence, using power, showmanship, and sheer brutality to conquer and prosper. These are the planet's Wild Battlegrounds. The Spencer Gulf, a large ocean inlet in the south of Australia. Cold winter currents swirl into a 10-kilometer stretch of marine park, underlain by shallow rocky seabeds. An idyllic breeding location for a very unique sea creature. The drop in sea temperatures trigger a phenomenon seen nowhere else in the world. Thousands of cuttlefish begin making their way to this underwater battleground, engaging in a war of love and life. Each year, males must fight to pass on their DNA. They have a better chance of finding a partner in these large gatherings. But competition is fierce, with males outnumbering females 10 to 1. Their battles for sex are like no other in the animal kingdom. Relatives of squid and octopus, cuttlefish have a unique ability to control the color of their skin. Pigmented cells, called chromatophores, cover their body. Each contains one type of pigment: dark brown, orange, or yellow. These tiny dots of color are controlled by muscle contractions, which can rapidly change the cuttlefish's appearance. Mostly, these color shifts are used for camouflage, to expertly mimic the textures and patterns of their environment. But now, they're on a mission to impress and intimidate. Before any physical contact, males size up their rivals. Pulsating zebra stripes are a warning to back off. Large, complex eyes pick up rival messages loud and clear. While some challengers back down, aggression often escalates into physical violence. In a cuttlefish punch-up, there are 8 muscular arms to contend with. They bite and tear each other's skin with sharp beaks. The opponents squirt ink in an effort to disorient their rival. Like a magician's smokescreen, these dark clouds can hide a hasty retreat. Injuries from fights can be fatal. The winner receives an embrace from the watching female. Arms around her head, the male works to fertilize her eggs. As the female lays them beneath the rocky ledge, other males continue their pursuit. Her partner stands guard, fending off rival advances. Until finally, the deed is done. The giant cuttlefish only live for 2 to 4 years. Many will die once the eggs are laid and the mating season is over. The cold water mating frenzy is their final chance at genetic immortality. Up in the Arctic, breeding season is over. On a rocky ledge, 2 white-tailed eagles are chilled by the autumn breeze. There's no frenetic fights for sexual dominance here. Eagles mate for life. Every year, they raise just a couple of offspring, a battle in itself. As fledglings eat almost a kilo of fish a day. The white-tailed eagle is one of the world's most fearsome predators. Their wingspan measures more than 2 meters, the largest of any eagle. There are few species more intimidating. With gigantic talons, they can pluck small mammals from the ground. But they prefer fish. Swooping low over the water, the raptor positions its legs forward and wings backward for a mid-air pause, right over the target. Deadly accurate. But this is a popular fishing spot, and white-tailed eagles are known pirates, often stealing the loot of others. Across the Arctic, sea ice is once more starting to form. For sea eagles, fishing becomes more difficult. Competition is intense. But these battles last no more than a few seconds. The warring eagles are rarely hurt. But as the ocean freezes over, they all must find other ways to survive. The winter days are dark and bleak. with food scarce on the ground. The conditions claim lives across the Arctic, but provide a rare gift for the eagles, as the dead become food for these scavengers. The Arctic is an extreme world, but there is no place colder than Antarctica. It's split in two by the Trans-Antarctic Mountains. Under the influence of gravity, cold winds roar down the slopes of the ice cap from the polar plateau to the coast. Gusts can exceed 300 kilometers an hour, and temperatures can drop more than 70 degrees below zero. Few can survive such conditions, and life in Antarctica revolves around the ocean and its comparative warmth. But there's one resident that battles the Antarctic winter in a bid to bring new life into the world. As temperatures plummet and the sea ice platform grows thick, emperor penguins march to old breeding grounds. A chorus of courtship erupts as past lovers reunite. Around a month later, each female lays a single egg. She passes it to her male, along with a heavy responsibility. He carries it on top of his feet, shielding it with his thick layer of skin and feathers. His task is to keep it safe and warm while she journeys for food. It will be a test of endurance. Soon, there are no more songs of courtship. The first winter storm slams into the huddle of expectant fathers. Emperor penguins have special armory to ward off the cold. Their beaks and flippers are smaller than other penguins to prevent heat loss. Their bodies are full of fat and covered in 2 layers of feathers. But their most powerful defense against the chill is their social nature. They stand together and turn their backs to the blast, creating a circle of heat. Constantly moving, they take turns shielding the crowd from the onslaught of stinging ice. Shuffling around the perimeter, carefully balancing their eggs as they make their way back inside the warm huddle. Together, they battle the weather for weeks, waiting for the females to return. For some, the wait is too long. Many eggs are abandoned to the blizzard, but the majority stay strong. After 65 days, the eggs begin to hatch. By this time, some males have endured 4 months without a meal. They've lost half their body weight, and the newborn chicks need to eat. The females are finally on their way home with food for the young. Not a moment too soon. Even though he is starving, the father is reluctant to hand over. He has faced so much to protect his precious cargo. But now it's his turn to leave the colony and find food for himself. He'll return with more for the young. For the chicks, it's a lengthy wait between meals. Many won't pass the test of endurance. Scavengers descend on the weak and the luckless. And the winter rages on around the dark and windy edges of East Antarctica. The constant threat of predation is one of the main reasons animals choose treacherous and challenging environments to breed. At the opposite ends of the Earth, Dahl's sheep live a nervous existence, trying to protect their young. They've made their home in the mountains of Kluane National Park, Canada. A spectacular terrain of high peaks and glacier valleys just below the Arctic Circle. The slopes are sheer. Vegetation is sparse, and the atmosphere is cold and thin. But the terrain provides the edge against some predators. The golden eagle is one of the world's largest and most agile raptors. Scouting the terrain with the expert vision of an apex predator, the eagle quickly locates the herd. The adult sheep are too big to seize, and even the lambs are sure-footed and fast. But the raptor begins to drive panic into the herd. Escaping danger from above, the family face a new threat from below, a Yukon wolf. They find refuge on a sheer section of the cliff. But the wolf hasn't given up. He's climbed higher up, ambushing the sheep from the side, forcing them to scatter. A lamb separates from the herd and escapes down the hill. But as the incline levels out and the vegetation thickens, the wolf gains the advantage. The chase has delivered the eagle an unexpected reward. In the chaos, another escaping lamb broke its neck at high speed. The eagle will have food for his family tonight. With 2 less members, the herd is bereft, but no worse off. There are limited resources on these high slopes, and now there may be just enough to go round. Even without predators, life has its limits. Dawn in the pine forests of Scotland. The snow lays thick on the ground, but tempers are raging hot. Male western capercaillies are fighting for their chance at a hen harem. Females watch the display from the safety of the treetops. They aren't in any hurry to choose a victor. There will be many suitors before the day is out. The winner of the morning scuffle paces the snow. His is the posture of courtship and intimidation. Beak pointed at the sky, his tail fanned to its maximum extent, as tall and showy as possible. He calls to the females and any who dare challenge his territory, with distinctive clicks that resonate throughout the forest. That's not an echo, it's a rival male. The distant clicking gets closer. Anger rises. The challenger emerges. A female moves closer to observe, sending the males into a click frenzy. She appears only mildly interested in the showdown. But much more is at stake than the attention of a single hen. Any female in earshot will agree on the winner, and they will all offer him the right to sire their offspring. As the females gather, so do more males. They are intoxicated with aggression. One male advances on a hen. It's too much for his rival, and the fight turns physical. These brutal duels can end in death or serious injury. A victor emerges from the fray. He's short a few feathers, but his pride has swelled to new heights. Winning favor with the females and the prize of reproductive success. Icy winds batter the rugged coast of Iceland. These are the Lauterbjerg Cliffs, a 14-kilometer stretch of volcanic rock deposited in a series of eruptions over millions of years. Creating horizontal ledges all the way up the sheer rock face. Perfect for nesting birds, the cliffs are a premier breeding destination for some of the world's great ocean travelers. A multitude of species crowds the ledges and footholds. Puffins fish in the nutrient-rich waters, gathering food for their young, sheltered in burrows. The terrain also provides a vital hunting ground for Iceland's only native mammal, the blue Arctic fox. Breeding season is their time to fatten up. A long-term couple raise their young in the shadow of the cliffs. The parents are on constant rotation, taking turns to gather food for the energetic young. The vixen embarks to prowl the nesting grounds. Many birds are out of her reach. But with such a crowd, there are limited positions. Some birds must compromise. A gull settles for a less than ideal nesting location. The fox blends well with the rocks and vegetation. Unable to defend her nest, a gull pays the ultimate price. The vixen returns with her catch. A life for a life. And the gift of another day for the blue Arctic fox and her kits. Further north, the icy surface of the Arctic Ocean has begun to melt and break apart. For the polar bear, the sea ice is a vast domain. Covering millions of square kilometers, this is where he must travel, rest, and hunt for months on end. He feeds mainly on seals, and he relies on the ice to catch them. With a landscape so sparsely populated, it can take days to find a meal. There's not a seal in sight. But a fishy aroma on the breeze compels the hunter onwards. Survival depends on persistence. The polar bear searches for a breathing hole that a seal might emerge from. His best option is to wait. But there is no guarantee one will surface here. Eventually, he spies a seal on the ice. But there's no chance of a subtle approach. The seal senses a threat. The bear is a good swimmer. He can't beat a seal, but he can hold his breath for 2 minutes. Ambush is his only chance. Not close enough. The polar bear faces terrible odds. He will spend half his life hunting, but less than 2% of attacks are successful. Each year, hunting becomes more difficult as the ice melts faster and grows thinner. But one seal goes a long way. Rich in fat and protein, it will sustain him for more than a week. Only bones are left for the gulls. Finally, the bear is able to rest. Curling up in the middle of the frozen sea, he drifts off to a deep slumber. Back in Scotland, marshland birds have woken up to a drizzling day of wet snow. But it hasn't put out the fire in randy males. Mating battles have grown even more bizarre. Ruffs are a type of wading sandpiper. Both sexes are light grey and mottled. But when sex hormones kick in, males get a makeover. Their faces turn orange, breast feathers go black, and they sprout brightly coloured tufts on their heads. They flaunt their ostentatious ornaments in the hopes of impressing a female. A grassy arena stages the male's battle. It's a feather frenzy involving many aggressive males. The display is enough to entice a female, who receives immediate attention. But there's more to this display than meets the eye. There are 3 different types of males. Some missed out on a colorful ruff. They are known as satellites. They fluff and prance like the other males, but they are subordinates, helping the battle appear larger, and the dominant males look more impressive. This in turn attracts more females, so they are tolerated by the dominant males and even allowed to mate occasionally. If she's finally impressed, the female will present. One of the males accepts her request. However, another contender enters the ring. Grey and mottled like a female, but slightly bigger. He's known as a sneaker male. He doesn't fight. He mimics the behavior of the other females, until one of them presents, and he rushes in. Subterfuge is a tactic that's won many a battle. But here, on the cold and windy Scottish moors, this sly maneuver doesn't seem to have ruffled any extra feathers. Winter has drawn to a close in Antarctica, and the sun has edged back above the horizon. The emperor penguin chicks are now fat and strong. They must march to the edge of the sea ice for their first swim. Compared to facing the Antarctic winter head-on, this one's a cinch. But down by the water's edge, there are new enemies to face. Fat little penguins are an excellent fuel source for other marine predators. Orcas patrol the ice perimeter. And there are other, less visible threats. Leopard seals often coast below the shelf, waiting for penguins to drop in. Up to 7 different species of penguins hunt in Antarctic waters, and the leopard seal will eat any of them. Eventually, a group of Adelie penguins take the plunge. They head off as fast as they can travel, porpoising in and out of the water, enabling them to breathe without slowing down. But upon returning to land, the floating sea ice prevents them from producing a rapid burst to exit the water. A leopard seal has been waiting for this moment. For the penguins, each day is a new ocean battle, from which one of their own never returns. Winter in California is a bloody and brutal time for male elephant seals. They've returned to the beach of their birth to mate and defend their birthing females. They've been apart for many months. The females have foraged mainly on fish in the open ocean. The alpha males have spent the last few months gorging as much as they can along Alaska's continental shelf. There's a greater risk of predators, but a better chance to get fat. Now they intend to put all that blubber to good use. Big males weigh up to 3 times more than the females. Size and strength is a prerequisite for possessing a harem. This giant beachmaster controls a patch of sand harboring around 100 females. Holding such a position is hyper-competitive. And young males aren't big enough to compete until they're around 9 years old. Each mating season, alpha males must go without food for 100 days or risk losing their harem. The beachmaster is fat enough to tough it out. A challenger trespasses. The beachmaster needs to teach the young male a lesson. Eventually, the young upstart backs off. Even for older bulls, fighting is a costly exercise. It's much better to establish dominance without physical contact. Their large proboscis serves as a loudspeaker, an instrument to amplify their roar. It's a vocal siren that's developed over many years, a signal of bravado, brawn, and age. Despite being top dog, the beachmaster will need to fight off numerous challenges. Battles can last anywhere from a few minutes to half an hour. Even though combat looks painful, injuries are rarely serious. Challengers back down when the fight has been clearly won, leaving the victorious beachmaster to reside over his harem. The Yukon Ranges provide porcupine caribou just enough sustenance to survive months of sub-zero temperatures. But now the seasons are shifting. The females are pregnant, and the herds have grown restless. They begin to head north on a most spectacular journey. The longest land migration in the world. More than 200,000 caribou traverse over 1,000 kilometers, moving from their wintering grounds in the boreal forests of the Yukon to the coastal plains of the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. The herd creates a dramatic spectacle as they head towards their calving grounds. Thundering across ancient trails as they have for more than 3,000 years. This season's weary travelers arrive to a summer of Arctic color. The top layer of the tundra has melted. Fresh vegetation provides essential nutrition for the lactating mothers. Around 40,000 calves are born each year. They grow quickly. Within a week, the newborns can run as fast as their mothers. More than 70 kilometers an hour. But even in this extreme environment, there are specialist hunters. Arctic wolves prowl the tundra. They travel long distances to find food, and they have their own offspring to feed. The caribou young are easy prey. The mother searches for her calf, but it's fallen behind the herd. A second wolf joins the pursuit. More than 10% of calves will be taken by predators in the first month. For those that survive the summer, a long migration awaits. They will face a relentless battle for food. Predators that keep them constantly on the move. And, like so many of nature's warriors, the fury of the white and bitter cold.